All right, no time to explain a game. Welcome back. King Zeph here, back with a video for you guys. Happy Tuesday or Christmas Eve. It's the 23rd. It's the day before Christmas Eve. So, like, I guess to the Christmas fanatics, it's going to be Christmas Eve or whatever, however you want to put it. Regardless, we're just going to have a little chit chat today. We're going to actually be going over some news and some depressing and positive on both sides because a lot of things have kind of popped off in the last, I would say, week-ish or a couple days. A lot of news for Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG and then in the TCG community in its entirety has kind of been happening on the link. First and foremost, one of my least favorite things to really kind of go over is the whole grading situation, because as you guys have seen on the channel, I have done a couple grade submission reviews and videos. I've graded through Beckett. I've graded through PSA. Beckett is my go-to choice out of the two, and I am soon to grade through Tag. I have a couple of Lorcana cards I probably want to try to send to them. They don't do Yu-Gi-Oh! So pretty much the only options for Tag are like Pokemon, Magic, and Lorcana. So I have a couple of Lorcana cards that I want to send over to Tag and try them out and see how those kind of do. But I'm also kind of iffy because they did do a price increase after they had like a large set of volume and a bunch of other things. They said they're still going to be doing Yu-Gi-Oh! But I don't know. I'm just not liking the price. For the money I spent on Tag is almost at PSA prices, because PSA also increased their prices as well because of the high demand in Pokemon, which fortunately a lot of the Pokemon market is coming down and crashing, which is good news for that and for those that are trying to get their hands on Pokemon stuff, because I have been seeing a lot more Pokemon product on shelves recently. Just because things are just not selling, or things value is tanking, or for whatever reason. I'm not in the Pokemon market. All I know is I can tell you what I see. I'm seeing vending machines having more inventory. My local car stop has had like 3 restocks of Phantasmal Flames in the past week. Of course, GameStop is being GameStop because they decided to try to be scalpers. They're not really being scalpers. They're following the trend of supply and demand. Everybody's camping out at GameStop to buy Pokemon product, and then of course people are just buying it up, whatever the limit is, and flipping it anyway. So I mean, it's only a matter of time in capitalism. At a certain point in time, when you have a bunch of retailers seeing that people are buying your product for the MSRP sticker price and then selling it for double the price on the offhand market, it was only a matter of time before eventually that was going to happen. That's one of the things that worries me the most about the scalping market, is that if companies see that their product is selling at double the price that they're selling it for, what's stopping them from just going, okay, we're just going to raise our MSRP because clearly you guys are going to buy it at this price, which will either thus cause the scalping price to go away or the scalping price to increase, which is worse. And then at that point in time, it's like, it's going to take a while for the price to kind of come down, because they know due to demand, people are going to buy it, and it's just going to be a big issue. So one of the big reasons why I try to steer away from scalpers is to make sure that doesn't happen. So, but that's just GameStop doing that. So GameStop is following that same practice, and it's kind of biting them in the butt, which it should bite them in the butt. But seeing all the internet scalpers and stuff complain, and you're hearing complaints from regular customers too, people who just want to buy product to open for themselves or kids, buy their decks or collect for them personal purposes. They're complaining too, but I just love seeing, like, because I know a lot of people who are scalpers, or people who are trying to pretend like they're consumers but are actual scalpers, whining and complaining about it. So it brings me joy. So it's kind of funny to watch that happen on that side. But yeah, so fun news that kind of dropped last week. The parent company Collector of PSA is buying Beckett, and that's whenever companies merge or they have acquisitions or they buy them, it's never a good look, because of course it dwindles competition, as well. It's like a monopoly to a degree. Fortunately, it can't be a monopoly because you have so many different grading companies that, you know, it kind of, them buying Beckett isn't really so much like, oh, you're doing a monopoly. Like, no, you still have CGC, you still have Tag, and you have international grading companies and a bunch of low B grading companies. You have so many grading companies, whether they're reputable or not, that can fill the space or fill the void or fill in the gap that Beckett will leave behind from being purchased. But it's not like Beckett's going anywhere. They're sticking around, but they are under new ownership, which stereotypically means there's going to be a changes in process, probably a change in price, and that's the biggest thing of it all. Beckett I do prefer over the other grading companies. The one thing I hate about Beckett is the customer service. Now, I will say with all discretion, their customer service is much better via social media than it is through Beckett directly. If you DM Beckett via Twitter with an issue, somebody will reply to you within the hour, which is kind of hilarious, because if you try to send them a support ticket, they may not get to it, or you may not hear from them for like weeks. But if you send them a tweet via DM, and you don't even have to be like a public DM and tag them and be like negative, like a lot of companies will see where they see a negative tweet, they'll reply to you. If you just DM them, it works as their customer service and they'll reply to you relatively quickly. I have the couple incidences that I've had over my last greeting submission, and I just shot them I just went on Twitter just as a hunch. I'm like, you know what, let me try this because I'm trying to email you guys. You're not replying back to me. I call customer service. It says go online. I just said to heck with it. I got tired of waiting. I just tried Twitter and shot them a DM, and they literally replied back within like a short period of time and got it resolved, which was kind of hilarious. But so of all the things that could be better about them purchasing Beckett, their customer service could improve. So if that's a upgrade to them being acquired, I'll give them kudos. But the biggest one is the price, because Beckett charges you for how fast you want them to grade it, not based on the value of your card like PSA does. PSA charges you based upon what the value of your card is at the time of you, basically whatever the value of the card is going to be post grade. So their base tier price, I think, it caps at $500. So if you get a 10 and the price of the card at a 10 is under that $500 threshold, you're fine. But if the price goes above that $500 threshold because it was a 10, then you get charged for the next tier. So they'll upcharge you based upon whatever the price of the value of that card is, which is I brought this up a couple times, but that's also one of the biggest reasons why people say with PSA, you're buying your 10s, because if you want a card at a 10 and the card is a 10 and it's worth a lot of money, you have to pay that upcharge to maintain it. Now, you can dispute it, but you have to do your own research and see what the actual card value is at a 10 to justify contesting it, so that way you don't have to pay the upcharge. But it's just a hassle to deal with. And now, more rapidly, since there have been people out on the wild that have found out that, oh, they gave them 9s, they did the buyback program, and then they sold the card to PSA just for them to flip it and say it's a 10 to sell it for more. PSA to me, like, I understand they do volume, and they're probably like, because of the large volume, because everybody using them, they are considered like the #1 grading company, which in my personal opinion, they're not. I don't personally like PSA, and I prefer not to use them. So that's just my take on it. And with all of that shady practices, doesn't make it worse. So now that Beckett is being owned by the same company that owns PSA, gives me pause about Beckett. I like Beckett slabs better. I like the fact that Beckett actually grades your card. Like, they actually tell you like what your subgrades are, so that way you can actually see, or at least have some form of indicator why your card got the grade that it got, which is one step below tag, because tag does the whole thing where they do the 3D scan and the infrared, and they show you all the defects in your card and all that other stuff, which is why tag is so much better. And this also probably explains why tag raised their prices too, because they give you so much information on how your card graded that it makes them the more reputable, and it makes them the more like, it makes them look like the better grader. And I do agree with that, but at the same time, if that's also the reason why you kind of raised your price, I don't really agree with that. So I think you guys should be more competitive, at least for the time being, or at least until they probably dominated more of the market share. I would say if they increase their prices closer to PSA's after like being basically like matching PSA's levels, or coming like within like striking distance of PSA's levels, maybe. And considering the fact that they don't even grade all cards yet is a little bit causing me pause on that one, but it is what it is on that one, and that's capitalism, and that's business, and all that other fun stuff. But I'm not a fan of this. I don't like the fact that Beckett's being bought. Of course, they're saying they're going to remain independent and nothing's going to change. They always say that, so I'm going to hold my breath on that one. So I'm still going to send some things to get graded by Beckett, but I'm going to probably do it sooner than later before any real drastic changes can potentially happen. Because like I said, they say nothing's going to change and things are going to stay independent. I guarantee like in a year or two, they're going to have a change in leadership, and that leadership's going to be like, oh, we need to change these things. And then prices are going to go up, or they're going to be like, oh, we're going to grade you for black label. You're going to charge you extra for black labels and all that other fun stuff. So I'm not holding my breath on that. What I'm saying is purely speculation on that side. And that's just speculation based upon how previous companies have handled things. So don't take my word for it. Don't just go, oh, I said this and it's going to happen. The chance isn't 0. The chance isn't 100%. So it could happen. It could not happen. I just don't have faith in it just because of previous practices from other businesses, corporations, and understanding how that whole system works. So in my mind, is going to be bad. But if it stays the same, cool, not a problem. If it stays the same and they just improve the customer service, even better. I'll be much happier, and I'll be happy to come back on here and say I was wrong. But in the interim, my doubts are very high. So I'm going to continue to be very pessimistic about this, because that's just how I feel, and that's just what past experience are going on. But on the tail of good news, we did hear word about 4 or 5 months ago that Konami was going into full art Yu-Gi-Oh cards. They're going to be adding a new rarity to kind of be, I guess, step into the realm of more collectors, because one thing Konami didn't have compared to everybody else is almost every other trading card game or collectible has a full art. Like Pokemon has a special illustration rares. Even the EX cards that are rarity are almost full art-ish to a degree. But of course, the special illustration rares and the full arts and the two gold star cards are like full art cards. They have like special rarities to them. They have a different sheen and everything to them. Digimon has it. One Piece has it. Union Arena has it. Magic kinda has it. With the Universe Beyond stuff, they do have full arts, like, some of their high tier, like for the Final Fantasy stuff and the Avatar stuff. Like, I know they have them. I usually don't see them as much because I really don't focus so much on Magic, and I haven't really looked at more Magic core sets, but all the Universe Beyond sets have like a version of a full art card. Lorcana has it with its enchanted rares. So pretty much every other card company has a form of a full art or a super high rarity card that, of course, you have a regular version of the card and you have the high rarity version of the card, where, of course, the higher rarity version of its actual price is astronomically higher because of its a lot harder rarity to pull. So Konami did announce this about 6 months ago. A couple days ago over the weekend, they actually unveiled them and showed them to everybody. I think they showed it. I don't know if there was a special OCG YCS going on at Disney Japan, or I know the Dragon Duel tournament was going on, but they had the cards out on display, and of course they put them out. So they were showing new cards coming from future sets that drop in February, March, and they showed a bunch of the full arts and what they will look like. So let's go ahead and hop over to Twitter so that way we can take a look at these, because they're sick and I can't wait to potentially get one. I'm going to be doing everything in my power and a lot more OCG openings next year to try to get some of these full arts, as well as get them in the TCG as well. But we don't know all the details for the TCG other than one small thing, which we'll get to that in just a hot second. So switching to my screen, we have our very first one. So the first set, well, actually the sets are called Limit Over Collection, the Heroes, and I think the other one's called the Rival. And of course, clearly they're gonna have a Blue Eyes and a Dark Magician. So here's the Dark Magician card. This card's called Dark Magician, the Pharaoh Servant, level 7 Dark Spellcaster. It is an effect monster, but look at this card itself. This full art looks absolutely amazing. Like, Dark Magician's coming out of the head. We just got the Dark Magic tag going on in the back. You can still fully see his body, and then of course you have the standard text box. The stars and the name are kind of above it. I kind of want to see what the card is actually going to look like in person. It's like, is it going to be like raised? Is it going to be like the combination of like the Prismatic Collector's rare, where like the lightning bolts are raised like a collector rare, or like an ulti, and then certain things are foil? They showed, I think, in another thing, some of the cards, I think, to a degree, or maybe the Grandmaster rare of it, which I'll discuss in a second. But I just want to see what it looks like in person. So hopefully we'll see more. They'll probably actually show the physical card itself and other like releases or another sneak peeks previews. But of course, this comes out in February and March. I will be doing everything in my power to get as many boxes of these OCG sets. I pray to God they're not overly expensive. Most average, they're like 50, 60 bucks. I'm going to try to get a case because I absolutely have to have this Dark Magician, as well as the Blue Eyes White Dragon. But of course, this Dark Magician is quite busted in terms of what it can do in its effect. I'll let you guys read that and we can discuss the effects later, but just going to show off a couple of them. So here's the Dark Magician. Here's a new hero monster. So his favorite hero, Shining Flare Wingman, and its full art variant, which heroes aren't my biggest thing, so like I really don't care about it so much, but the card still looks very, very sick on this side. What's the next one they have? Stardust, the new Stardust Dragon, Victim Sanctuary. This looks amazing. New Utopia cards. I hate Utopia decks because they just combo off and they just do a bunch of things. I really could care less about that one, but there's a new one of those. And then what else are they showing? Then they had, what's this one? New Odd Eyes. showing that one. A new Deco Talker integration, so there's 2 more. So these are coming from the set The Heroes, and then of course the Rivals, which is where the Blue Eyes has. Now, yes, they could have picked a better art for Blue Eyes, or they could have made a better art for Blue Eyes, but I'm not complaining, because you also, to start this off, you clearly have to have a Blue Eyes White Dragon, and you have to have a Dark Magician in its full art variation. So yes, looks sick. Yes, this could be better. Eventually, if this sustains and it works out well, we'll probably get a different Blue Eyes White Dragon with a full art. Maybe a standard Blue Eyes White Dragon that's not an effect monster, but as it stands, we gotta have one. We gotta have one of each. I'm not too upset about it. Would I have liked a better rarity? Yes, but I still think it looks absolutely amazing. Next one is, of course, Cyber End Dragon. This looks dope as well. Following Crimson Dragon, Quetzalcoatl, which basically has all the Signer Dragons on it, -1. I don't see Blackwing in here, so they're not showing Blackwing much love on this. But for something new, and they say, hey, it's going to be a full art variation, very good card choice for that one. A new Neo Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. I'm not really the biggest person in this archetype, but that looks sick as well. Let me see what else did they show. More from the Rivals. A new Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. A new Borolo Liberator Dragon. And then they showed some more common cards. Here we go. So these are reprints in full art. So, of course, they had to do Dragoon. Like, the target-rich environment. Of course, they had to do Red Eyes Dark Dragoon as one of the full arts. It's just like, hey, here are the cards that are used, that are available. We're going to reprint these as full arts. Dragoon had to be one of them. Wake Up Your E-Hero looks sick as well. I forget which Stardust. This isn't Quasar. There's one of the Stardust Dragon variations. Can't remember his name. Firewall Dragon. Kira. And then, of course, Mirror Jade for the Obelisk players. This does look sick, too. Both of these. Look, I like the Kira because this actually looked with a dragon coming out of the card itself. This looks even better. And Mirror Jade having more of his ice wings coming out as well. And then they have number 99, Zark, Super Poly. I have to have this. I have to have Super Poly. And then, of course, Dominus Purge. I think they showed Dominus Impulse as well. I don't think they have a picture of it in here. They don't, but they show both Dominus cards. It was Dominus Purge and Dominus Impulse as both of those. And then, of course, it's going to come in these 2 sets. This one's the Heroes. I think the Rivals is a white set. Yep. Basically how they did. OCG likes to do this where they do the black and the white sets, but the other one, I think the last one they did was blue and purple for the anniversary sets, which you could have gotten like the special edition Dark Magician Girl and Dark Magician with the matching arts, and then the Red Eyes and the Red Black Dragon. They had it for those. So, of course, that is going to be on that side. But what's also really cool about this is that not only are they getting full arts, they're also getting serialized. So they're actually adding a new rarity outside of these called Grandmaster Rares. Now, the Grandmaster Rares are going to be these exact same cards. They're going to have special borders around them. I think they showed one of them. I don't know where that image is, but I saw Strictly Sealed and a couple of people share the actual one of the test cards that they had, so you were actually able to see it in real life. The edges were different. They had like a hieroglyphic border. And it just looked absolutely sick, but it's also serialized. They're only going to be making 100 of that particular version of those cards in that set. So for collecting, that is going to be a game changer. Once again, don't know how the value is going to work. Don't know how they're going to handle all of those details, but nonetheless, that is really good news for the collector market in Yu-Gi-Oh! And something new and something fresh for us to have as collectors and players. Is going to be weird. I know somebody's going to pull the serialized version of it and put it in their deck and actually play it just as a hard flex. I know somebody's going to do it. They always do. It's going to like give me the ick, and it's going to drive me nuts because it's like that card is like, let's just say the card's value is astronomical. It's like this card is like $1,000 and you put that in your deck. Why? Just to have a hard flex. Because if I pull a serialized Grandmaster Rare card, that bad boy is going to a sleeve and it is getting graded immediately. Like, it's getting sent to grading ASAP without hesitation. This is going to get like, I need you graded and I need you safe for all eternity. So that's going to be the cool thing on that one. And the fun part about this is, even though this is the OCG and we're only expecting this basically in month 2 and month 3 of the year, the TCG is getting this in Rarity Collection. Now, as far as we know, the TCG is getting these. We're going to get the this one. Actually, I might be able. So let me see if I can look at it on Yu-Gi-Oh's website. I think they posted it on their website. I'm going to do this live in person. Rarity 5. Okay, they show Blazing Dimensions. Also, they actually added. I forgot Maze of the Mortals comes out soon. They show 4 of them. They didn't show all of them. So they show Wake Up Your E-Hero, Shooting Quasar Dragon, Kirakira Divincarnate, and Dominus Purge. So they said these 10 arts will be mixed. So there's going to be 10 of them. So of course it's going to be Dragoon. The initial 6, of course, Dominus Pulse and Dominus Impulse are going to be, but they're going to be in Rarity 5. Now, Rarity 5 comes out in April. So essentially, after Q1 of the year, we're going to get Rarity 5. These are going to be in the Rarity Collection. They should come available in both Secret Rare, Starlight Rare, or Ultra Rare. I don't know how the Starlights are going to look in these variations, but of course, the Ultra is probably going to look really, really good. But I need to see what they're going to be like in person before I really make a full educated opinion on them. But as it stands right now, they still look very, very sick. We don't know if we're going to get Grandmaster Rares in the TCG as of right now. That's going to really make or break things in the TCG so much, because the OCG gets all the cool stuff. And that's one of the reasons why I love the OCG. OCG cards are cheaper to purchase, but they always get all the nice stuff that we don't get in the TCG. They get all the fun collector stuff. So it would be disappointing if the Grandmaster Rares are only in the OCG. But at the same time, I can imagine getting the Grandmaster Rares in the TCG, but then with our very bad print quality, the number of errors you could get out of a serialized card kind of gives me pause. I feel like if they're going to do the Grandmaster Rares, they should do them in OCG cardstock / Euro prints only, and then put them in like the US. But then also them being limited to 100 is going to be very complicated too, because that does make things a little bit more complicated. But I kind of hope we do get them for the sake of the collector's aspect. If the Grandmaster Rare only stays in OCG, I'll be okay with it because I purchased OCG as well. But it's going to be kind of hard, and then it's probably going to inflate the price of those boxes and importing them over from the OCG as well. So we will see. I will give you updates as I get them in the future, as well as getting my hands on some of the booster boxes, because I need to open up those 2 sets and potentially pull that. Even as much as I would love a Grandmaster Rare, if I don't get the Grandmaster Rare but at least get the full art, that's step one. It's one of the steps. If we get a Grandmaster Rare, I'm going to lose my mind. If we get a Grandmaster Rare, I need to get a Dark Magician or a Blue Eyes White Dragon in that Grandmaster Rarity. But we need more details how it's going to work, because I don't know if all of them are going to be a Grandmaster Rare or if only some of them are going to be a Grandmaster Rare. So that's going to be a whole horse of a different color as the whole thing stands point. But hopefully with the addition of these new rarities, it potentially gets collectors back into the market of Yu-Gi-Oh!, which will thus drive the sales of Yu-Gi-Oh! Back up, which will kind of get it back into a better state, because right now purchasing Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't really the vibe. It's just the way the cards, the way the boxes are put together and the way the game works. It just, I buy it because I support my card shop. I like the new sets. I go to the events. I do it for the channel. But at the same time, I only open at most 3 boxes, because I'll do 1 box for the initial opening, 1 box for Blister versus boosters, and maybe a 3rd box, just because it just depends on the set. But on average, I'm only really doing 2 or 3 booster boxes, and then after that I'm buying singles. I'm not really purchasing boxes and packs like that like a madman. So I get it, but I also feel like if they change the mythology of the booster boxes similar to the OCG, or change how they handle the cards to where people could easily get playable cards at a lower rarity, it would drive the prices. Singles will still be a thing, but it will at least drive the demand of a box, because if people buy a box knowing that they can get valuable cards that they need to play with, they'll buy more boxes. Like if you could pull, let's just say back in the day, because when I opened Age of Overlords in OCG, without even knowing what the card was, I think I pulled like 6 SP Little Knights in that box in different rarities, between like a rare, a parallel, super, and everything else. That card, when it came out in the TCG, was only in QCR and secret rare, and that was $100 card for the longest time. That card was basically $100 all the way up until it got reprinted in the dirt in Bonanza. Or was it Stampede? No, it was Bonanza. Bonanza was when they reprinted SP Little Knight. Stampede is when they didn't. So Stampede's when they did the Charmies. So in that sense, if you were able to do that, like, people bought it out, but at the same time, I don't know. It's a complicated topic and it's a complicated subject. I actually would like to hear what you guys' opinion on what you think the market share for Yu-Gi-Oh is in terms of purchasing boxes. Personally, like I said, I'm in the camp and agreeing with people saying that, like, it's not worth buying a bunch of boxes, but I at least buy, like, for me personally, for the sake of the channel and just how I pull stuff, I generally pretty much put myself at a cap at, 3 to 4 boxes, period. Once I hit that cap, I'm not buying any more boxes. I have to be really feeling frisky to buy a box, or it has to be like a rarity collection or something for me to buy another box in a situation. Or there's just a chase card that I'm trying to pull out of it that I have a higher chance of pulling if I buy the box. But I see that more in the OCG than in the TCG. So, like I said, it's very complicated. But this is a good change. This is good news. And this is something to look forward to in Yu-Gi-Oh territory. So with that, we're going to conclude this video on my little TED Talk about that. Well, thank you guys for watching. Please leave me your opinions in the comments and tell me what you're thinking on the changed state of grading, how Yu-Gi-Oh is doing as a TCG in terms of purchasing and selling, and for the collector's market. Give me your thoughts. I really want to hear what you guys have to say about certain things, and just basically get your opinions on it. See if we agree or disagree. But in the meantime, if you did like this video and like my little TED Talk, please give a like, comment, and a subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, and also let me know what your opinions going into 2026 being, because this honestly is going to be a make or break year for Yu-Gi-Oh. Now, like for the for the YCS tier and the way Konami sees things, the game is still in a good state. People still want to play the game at a high competitive level, and they've been making the changes at the YCS level in terms of pricing and everything else in between. But they're starting to lose the local store. They're starting to lose the scene with the local stores, and that's not a good look, because of course, if you don't have any stores that want to sell your product, it just makes it that much more difficult for things to kind of progress, and makes the game harder to grow. So they need to do something with the actual boxes, the pull rates, and at least getting the collector market back, and not reprint these cards and all this other stuff, to get some enthusiasm on reasons why you need to buy boxes or cases of Yu-Gi-Oh product, and not just the singles. And even if it's still just the singles, in this sense, if these cards are hard to pull and they're not reprinting them, they're limited, the price of these cards are going to be astronomical. So it's like the value of it's going to be really, really high, which is just going to drive the fact of, which should probably help drive the fact of seeing if you can pull it in a booster box. But that should be determined. We also need to know what the pull rates on the cases are going to be, and a bunch of other stuff. So we'll see in the near future. We'll find out very, very soon. Like I said, February, March, because like I said, OCG stuff is very different than TCG. I'm assuming however Rarity 5 goes is going to determine how this kind of pans out and what's going to happen in the future. And then whatever full art's going to be in future sets that isn't Rarity 5, because Rarity is already weird because it has its unique pull rates. If I were to guess, I would say a full art is probably going to be 1 in every booster box in Rarity 5. If not, it might be the same as a standard QCR, where it's like QCR Starlight, where it's 1 in every 4. So you get 3 per case, potentially. That's just my guess, but we won't know that until people start cracking open boxes and doing previews of all that other stuff. So when that time comes, we'll have a little bit more definitive answers and numbers and answers. But we'll find out, hopefully, very, very soon. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you're thinking. And as usual, it's King Zeph. No time to explain. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.